All right, what's up, guys? So, I already made the coffee today. I already recorded the video too, and I deleted it because I didn't look pretty enough. No, I'm kidding. It went over 2 hours, and I'm gonna upload that video anyways, but I want to just give everyone an update that I can upload to all the social media, whereas that's kind of just limited to YouTube. And I fucking rant and ramble for a bit on there. But hold on. I'm gotta put something back in my room. But in the meantime, let's get this coffee heating back up first. It's crazy how coffee gets colder so much faster during the winter, even though it's basically the same temperature in the house, right? I guess just the drafts and stuff make the coffee get real cold real fast. And it actually gets cold. Maybe it's just like perception, right? But yeah. So what we're doing today is caramel brulee. I love this coffee. I forgot to even talk about the flavor during the other video, so I guess it's a good thing I'm doing this anyways. So this is one of their special Barismo, which is Aldi's house brand, generic. One of their special holiday coffees. I got two more that we're gonna do sometime this month. It is a light roast that is indulgent and comforting. Caramel brulee coffee features the warm, buttery sweetness of caramelized sugar paired with the creamy richness of toasted vanilla. This smooth, full bodied brew captures the essence of a classic dessert in every sip, ideal for slow mornings or cozy evenings. Um, well, this is neither of those. I guess it's kind of a slow morning, right? I've been hard at it for hours now, but I still haven't uploaded the first video. Uh, Kind of because I'm doing this right now, I guess. I've also been working on things online. So, really, what I spend 2 hours talking about is three things. The first is basically, I thought I'd defeated the seasonal depression, but I hadn't. I even recorded videos a couple days ago, a week ago, maybe now. But and I think I maybe started. There was a 3 hour video that I uploaded, and then or that I recorded, and then another like 15-minute video or something that I recorded. But I deleted both of those because in both of those I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be live soon or later." And I think it may have happened after the 3 hour one, actually. Or maybe it didn't. No, I don't think it did. I don't think it happened on either one. So I was like, I'm just not going to upload those because then I won't make myself a liar. Also, were recorded like a week ago and like 3 weeks ago, respectively, or 2 weeks ago, respectively. So they're just out of date. They're kind of both the same things I said in the longer video, but I don't even remember everything I said in the 3 hour video. There might have been some good shit in there, but sometimes you just gotta be like, you know what, this one we're throwing out. But yeah, basically where I've been, it's just seasonal depression stuff. The weird thing is I deal with it every year, but I never quite am ready or able to anticipate it, you know? And to be clear, there's a difference between like clinical depression and what a lot of people think when when they hear depression, right? A lot of people hear depression and they think suicide, a whole bunch of negative thoughts, but clinical depression isn't really that. It's more of just like, I mean, I guess there's all kinds of things, and I'm not a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist by any means, so take this with a grain of salt. But according to my understanding, it really doesn't have anything to do with sadness or kind of feelings on the conscious level. It's more about the way we subconsciously just stop showing up for everything for a period of time. I could be wrong though. If you're a psychologist, correct me in the comments. But the point is, I don't really feel down or depressed besides the usual shit that's just always there, right? Uh, I kind of went into, so what, when I know that I'm like kind of depressed like that in a little way, I go like basically into like an autistic gaming mode would be the best way to describe it. I may or may not be on the spectrum. I've never been diagnosed with anything. That's up to you to determine. But when I was young, I would take guitar lessons, and I had the most incredible guitar teacher. We would do the classes in her home, and she had a child that was diagnosed with Asperger's. I've always been a people watcher because I basically had to watch people to learn how to reverse engineer social interactions. Tell me that isn't autistic sounding, by the way. Uh, so like there is very little doubt that I'm somewhere on the spectrum, but I would probably describe it as the opposite end of the spectrum as Elon Musk. Try and wrap your head around that. So basically, what happens though is I saw I used to go over there and watch, and her child would get it in like this weird mind frame where you couldn't even like talk to them, right? Just zone out from everything, from the world entirely, be nonverbal, locked into the game. And so I asked my dad about that. And he is actually a licensed psychologist. This was back when I was in high school or middle school or whatever, first started learning guitar. Um, and so I asked him, I was like, so why is he like that? And he told me all about Asperger's and everything. Uh, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it wasn't until I got older, and started looking back, especially at some of like when I'm gaming in my feelings instead of just my normal gaming habits, I will go straight hardcore, um, disassociate with the entire rest of the world, and my entire universe just becomes conquering Battletech, which is hilarious because I've beat that game at least half a dozen times now. For whatever reason, whenever I get into that mode, it always ends up being some kind of strategy game, usually turn based or a slower real time strategy like um, Sins of a Solar Empire. Sins of a Solar Empire is an RTS that moves at a pace that it feels almost like a turn based game. Mm. Delicious, by the way. This creme brulee coffee, amazing. I highly recommend you put both sugar and cream in it, though, because then it actually tastes. Sorry, it's not creme, it's caramel brulee. Then it actually tastes like caramel brulee. Not that I'm very familiar with that kind of fancy stuff. I'm more familiar with caramel and creme brulee coffee than the actual thing, but it just doesn't taste right if you don't put cream and sugar in it, in my opinion. So, yeah, I spent, I think, a week, maybe a little bit longer, where I was just in degenerate, I can't cope with the world mode. And that's why I haven't been uploading or streaming. I have dealt with that though now, as far as I'm aware, because I did say I dealt with that in one of the previous videos, and then I ended up going AFK for a week again. Though it was different this time. The first time it was just like the degenerate. We'll say it was 2 weeks because I don't know exactly. It was. It's been. It was about a week. I think. I'm just guessing. You guys know by the last time I uploaded and went live, right? You can figure it out if you care that much. But I don't even. Ow! What the hell's wrong with you, Charlie? He didn't do it hard. I just wasn't expecting it. He just out of nowhere just like bites the wrist. It was my hoodie, so it didn't like pierce or anything. He's been an asshole lately because he hasn't been getting the attention he wants, and he's bored because he can't go outside. No, go away. I don't want you here right now. You lost your cuddle privileges if you're going to be a jerk like that. Yeah. Don't be a jerk. It didn't even it wasn't even painful at all. It was just unexpected while I was recording the video. Like there's not even a mark or anything. You ever say ow and then it doesn't hurt and feel really stupid after it? Yeah, that's me right now. What kind of hurt a little more was his claw going through my sweatpants and into my leg when he jumped up to do that. So I guess my brain felt that and was primed to expect the teeth puncturing the skin, or at least biting down, but that didn't happen. Oh, he looks so sad. I can't look at him right now. He's just really frustrated by the fact that he can't go outside and play because it's snowing anymore. So he gets kind of mean to me this time of year. He hasn't grown up yet and learned to entertain himself. Yes, I'm talking about you. Anyways, what was I even saying? Yeah, so I don't keep Battletech or any of those 4X games, uh, any of those 4X games installed on my PC at all anymore. I haven't for years because it's just a thing where I get into a mood or like a phase where for I just get so into those games. No, not right now. Normally I let him up on my lap in the previous video, but not after he's gonna try and get my attention like that. He needs to learn better. One of the best ways to train your cat, instead of using a shock collar, by the way, I don't know if they make shock collars for cats, but I'm sure they probably do. But this is just as effective for dogs too, is to withdraw affection or isolate them. Usually a combination of both. For example, when you would scratch the furniture, I would put him in this little room that's going to be my mom's sewing room eventually, when they take possession of this house after I'm done renovating it. And I'd just leave him in there for the rest of the day. And I'd let him out before I'd go to sleep again or whenever I needed to feed him or whatever. But he learned real quickly, okay, don't scratch the furniture or I get stuck in this room with no furniture, right? Because it's just an empty room with boxes in it right now. And he used to have this bad habit of biting my nipples really hard. And you know what? I'm a sensitive guy. I have sensitive nipples. I did not like that at all. So I did some Googling. Apparently, that happens when they were weaned too early as a kitten, especially if they kind of see you as a mother figure. I guess I just have that really strong feminine energy, you know? So, but suffice it to say, I wanted the nipple biting to stop. So I didn't need to use a shock collar to do it. All I would do is whenever he would bite my nipple, I would tell him no. Okay, well, that's better that time. You didn't bite, you just used your forehead. I'll give you a pet so you learn positive reinforcement, kitty. Um, all right, you want to cuddle? Come here. All right. So, um, he would basically what would happen is when he would bite my nipple, I would just tell no very authoritatively and clearly, like looking right in his eyes. So he knew I was clearly talking about him. And then I would pick him up and throw him against the wall. So I was like, no, I'm kidding. I'm not a linity. I would just leave him outside, you know? I'd just drop him gently outside of my room and again, kick him out of my room for the rest of the day. They learn cats while they kind of pretend to be super solitary are actually really needy affectionate creatures. By the way, he's literally crawling into my arms like a child. Like, look at this. um so the one thing they care about more, well, we'll say almost as much as food, is affection. Honestly, he seems to get upset about the lack of attention and affection far longer than he does if I take too long to clear his litter box out, you know? So, and I feel like in a lot of ways, most dogs are even more affection hungry than cats, but kind of on a simpler way. Cats have very, very weird social habits. Um, at least as far as like humans, things that don't make sense for humans are perfectly normal for cats and vice versa. So, that was a random tangent on nipple biting. This was supposed to be short and focused. Thank you for making the content more interesting, Charlie. Um, but yeah, I don't even keep those games installed on my PC anymore. That includes Battletech, Master of Orion, Sins of a Solar Empire, Civs 5, and Beyond Earth. I don't have 6. What else is on that list? Oh, I think at least one of the Total War games, if not more than one. Endless Space 1 and 2. I said Master of Orion. There's some other big. Oh, Star Wars Empire at War, of course. All those strategy, all those strategy games, especially space based or sci fi based ones, Those are just like a huge, they're hugely connected to that kind of like autistic gaming mindset for me. Another thing that was very similar that didn't actually um, that isn't actually a strategy game, but is kind of sort of a strategy. It's not a combat game, we'll put it that way, but it's definitely a strategy game. Oh, the Frost game. What the hell was that called? You have like one coal furnace keeping your entire civilization alive, and you need to keep it burning and grow your civilization as the winter storms get more intense. Whatever that game was, I played the shit out of that. And there's a second one out now that I gotta try at some point. But I don't even keep those type of strategy games installed anymore because of the way that I'll just like start a brand new custom game with a massive map and literally spend a week or two doing nothing but that. And even though I don't keep them installed, it still happens occasionally where I guess I just go on a little autistic gaming binge. I don't know what else to call it. And it definitely seems to be related to my seasonal depression in some kind of way. But we're well and through that now. When I recorded the first we're over that video, I'd actually already uninstalled Battletech. It was Battletech this time around. I love the Mech Warrior universe so much. The lore is really cool. Um, Post apocalyptic neo feudal battle mechs. Like, if you just describing that genre, it sounds so awesome, right? Who wouldn't want to play that, a game set in that universe? Um, but yeah, we're back at it now. I'm gonna be kind of inconsistent through the rest of December. At this point, I have two goals, which are to just knock out stuff around the house, to get ready to go hard as fuck in 2026. Um, I'm going to be back streaming again sometime this week, but I'm not sure when. I'm also going to be randomly not streaming some days because of family and the holidays and stuff. So, just watch the go live notifications or check in if you've got nothing else to do. I am really focusing on getting background work done so I can focus more on just doing content creation and making the content creation higher quality, you know? But I don't think it's really going to all come together until early 2026. Um, Damn, there's a lot of things I wanted to say that I'm remembering from the other videos now. But I'm just going to wrap this one up. I'm trying to keep them shorter, little 20-minute blurbs to make them more digestible for the average public. Here's the thing, I'm still going to upload the 2 hour one though, because on some level, I also just don't care. One of the things I talked about in both the 2 hour one I'm going to upload after this and the 3 hour one I deleted is that I've been thinking a lot these past 2 months about my approach to content creation. And while originally these coffee vlogs started as content, it's been a year now, because I started doing these last year with an Advent coffee calendar or like a December coffee calendar I got from Aldi that had a bunch of different K cups in it. And now I'm doing Christmas flavored coffees again, but I only have 3 bags this time. I didn't see one of those coffee things this year yet. Probably already missed it. That would have been something they sold in November, right? So a year into this, I don't really care about these daily videos being content anymore. And I think that's why they kind of ballooned up into 33 hours instead of 30 minutes, you know? Um, Perfect time for medium form content like this is 10 to 20 minutes, keeping it under 30, you know? And I'm well aware of that, but it started becoming more of a personal journal at some point. Oh, my neck. Charlie, can you like stretch my neck for me? I can't do it because you have my arms right now. No, you're just gonna bury your head in my arms. Look at that. He literally just buried his head in my elbow when I asked that. It was like, no, I'm not gonna help you. I'm just gonna stay here and fall asleep. Fine, kitty. Oh, I'll crack my neck after the video's over. So, um, at this point, especially because of how much talking about surviving sexual abuse and all the other things I've talked about help me uh, on my own personal, mental, and spiritual journey. I'm going to keep doing them as vlogs, and it's going to be a little bit of both, right? When this one's more, this one like bridges the gap, right? It's half vlog, half update to my viewers. So it's going to be a little bit longer than content, but more vlog style where I just ramble instead of talking about something particular or specific. Although we do have a common theme, it's me being gone and coming back and dealing with seasonal depression. In addition to this, I want to say if any of you encounter seasonal depression, and unlike mine, it's not just the I'm going to sit in the basement and play video games for 2 weeks, but it's the kind that makes you feel really down and struggle with thoughts of harming yourself, then please reach out to someone. I saw a thing. I don't have much information about it lately. I talk about it in the 2-hour video for a while if you want to watch that after this. Some Fox girl just took her own life. Michaela, I believe, is her name. And her husband uploaded this really heartbreaking video about the whole thing because of social media bullying. So, one, don't fucking be the type of piece of shit person that would do that to someone. And two, if you are struggling with that kind of stuff for any reason, please unplug from the internet. Go find people who love you and spend time with them. All right? It's never worth it. But in general, I'm going to more specifically slot these coffee videos into 2 different types of videos, which a third one thrown in occasionally, which is the type we're doing right now. The phone slipped and hit Charlie and woke him up. How dare I wake you up from your little cat nap, right? Look at him, he looks so tired. Charlie, all you're doing all day is sleeping. You were literally just sleeping on the garbage bag before I woke you up by recording this video, and then you came over here and slept in my arms. I wish I had your life. Well, life is so tough for you right now. You can't go out and chase and murder bunnies because it's snowing. How horrible. Anyways, what was I even saying? Oh yeah, three types of coffee videos now specifically, and not the CoffeeZilla type of video. I don't. I'll do like Voidzilla type of videos where you commentate, but like CoffeeZilla type of videos where you do all that investigative research and stuff, you got to leave that to the professionals. I do know a fair bit of journalism. I I was one of the editors at our school newspaper in college, but I was the opinions section editor. And while I did know like basic news writing and stuff like that and journalism ethics and all that, I definitely won't claim to be a journalism major or any kind of expert or anything like that in that field. I was a dabbler, you know, a journeyman at best, not a master of journalism. But anyways, my point is three types of videos. We've got this as kind of the outlier where community updates responding to community comments or posts or things like that. Um, Straight up content videos where I either well, I mostly just focus on one topic for 20 minutes. Um, this video probably goes 40 minutes. I don't know. We're at 31, so that sounds about right. You know, 20 minutes for content videos where I specifically rant about some bullshit like Hassan shocking his dog or Mizkif sexually assaulting Emmy and then trying to sue her into silence. And the third will be the vlogs, which 60 minutes plus, just me rambling, talking about whatever is on my brain. Specifically because I've noticed how much this has been healthy for me. I've always tried to journal. Uh, there was only one time I was ever successful in doing it, and that was when I was in high school. And it was literally only because I was bored in class and had nothing better to do. We had the 90-minute block schedule, and I'd learn the material in like the first 20 to 30 minutes of class. So I was like, so what the fuck am I supposed to do for the remaining 2/3 of time I'm stuck in this class period? I had three go tos. I would run my hoodie, my headphones up my hoodie sleeve, and hold on, cat. I need that arm back for a second. Just sit on my lap normally. I'd like run my headphones up my hoodie sleeve until just my earbuds were hanging out, and we'll use this random spoon. I think this is like a margarita spoon or something, as an example. Uh, it'll do the trick. So I would run my headphones up my hoodie sleeve and then have the earbuds sitting in my palm just like this. And then I'd sit in class. Okay, it's not working right now. Now it'll be easier now that Charlie's gone. I'd have my shit like this. Let's put the spoon back in there. Um, and I just like palm the earbuds, and then I just sit there like this, watching the board, the teacher, or whatever, looking like I was bored but paying attention. But in reality, I was just listening to music the entire time. The other thing I would do is I would read novels. Uh, some of my teachers would get really mad when they noticed I was reading a novel instead of paying attention to class, but like I would just casually score 100% on most of those tests. So, uh, let's just say I didn't learn very good study skills in high school because there was no need for me to study. So I got in the habit of setting my book down in my lap. Like, say this is the closed book. This is actually just random junk mail that my dad wants to keep. He insists Liam keep all the junk mail so he can look through all these coupons for whatever reason, even though he's not going to see them. Well, I guess he's going to see them this month, but there's going to be ones from like 6 months ago that are probably expired. I don't know why he needs to keep those. I'd like to just throw this stuff out, but it's like whatever. It's just one moving box worth of mail that I give to them whenever I see them. So it's like, as long as it doesn't get worse than that, I don't care. But I'd take my book and I'd sit and I'd fold open the textbook so I had the sheets open, and then I would take my novel and I'd put it inside of the textbook. So it would look like I was intently paying attention to the textbook, but I was actually just reading Lord of the Rings or Artemis Fowl or some shit like that, you know? Um, and then the third thing I would do is I actually got so bored that I invented an entire new alphabet just because I had nothing better to do in class and I wanted to know if I could do it. And then I start I started using that alphabet to write. Some of it was writing poems, um, but one of the notebooks I had ended up being the journal. It's the only journal I've ever been consistent with. And it was literally just because I was constantly stuck in these classes that I already knew the material. I've got the hiccups today. Why do I fucking have the hiccups? I've had the hiccups in like years, but they have been harassing me today. That happened during the first video too. So I went and created this alphabet. Almost everything was written in English. It was just, I guess the best way to describe it would be like hieroglyphic symbols that represented English letters and words. Some of them were written in German because I was taking German and I spoke decent German at the time. And it was all based on this code breaking or this just cryptology book I had, which, uh, if you know anything about that stuff, I would describe it as a modified simple replacement code. It was a little more complex than a simple replacement code, but not really that much more difficult to break. You would break it using the same methods, which I actually talked about in the 3 hour video, I think. But that's the only journal I've ever been consistent with. And legitimately the only reason why is because I would have often 30 to 60 minutes of class multiple times per day where I was like, well, I already know how to do this stuff 2 days ago. And for some reason, we're still going over it. So I'm just going to write, you know? And I wanted to be able to write whatever popped into my head without teachers or other students reading it over my shoulder. Not that I ever wrote anything crazy. Like, it was never any of those murder fantasies or like weird animal torture things that like some of the disturbed kids write or draw. It was There may have been a couple times where I wrote about some of the girls I had crushes on. I think that's probably the most actually embarrassing thing that would be in that notebook. But there's two kind of semi embarrassing things. One was the hiccups are so distracting. I can't even remember what the first one now was. I remember the second one. The first one was that I was writing lots of song lyrics and poetry, and um, during this time when I was in high school, that was considered gay, you know. And I was like an edgy hardcore kid. One of my friends called me an emo once. I was like, bro, I'm not emo. I'm I'm grunge or punk, but I'm not emo. I wasn't goth because I didn't do all the goth shit, but I did have like a wallet chain and spike my hair, wear black and band tees and stuff. I was definitely emo. I just thought um that was gay to be emo, you know? And not in like the homosexual sense, just like um in the weird insult way. And I'm not using it in that situation now. I stopped using that word at all for a long time because it's just unnecessarily derogatory, right? But that was the mindset at the time. So I was kind of embarrassed by the fact that instead of working on one of my novel ideas, I'd write poetry. Um, the other thing is I went through a communist phase in high school. I grew out of it quickly because I very quickly realized how it's basically um what how would I describe it? An immature pseudo intellectual's pipe dream, right? Any kind of mature, true intellectual is going to be able to come to terms with, in a matter of hours of serious thought, how terrible communism and socialism are actually for humanity as a whole. But I pretty much had this notebook through most of high school, and in 10th grade, I did go through a small communism phase because I understand, right? I think that's what one of the things that makes communists and socialists hate me is because I actually understand where they're coming from. Because I was them 15 years ago. I just grew up, you know? So how frustrating is it to have someone who understands everything you're going through tell you it's time to grow up? Because that's really what it amounts to when you're having conversations with hardcore socialists or communists is you're actually just telling them to grow up and take control of their own lives instead of expecting someone else to come fix their life for them, really. um yeah. But the point of all this is that I've tried to record a journal two other times in my life. And I mean, seriously record it. Made several attempts at working on that same journal, and it's just never happened. It's not something that I take well to, which is really frustrating for two reasons. One of my favorite artists of all time, Um, Ariel, God, I'm blanking on her last name because it's different than her husband's. Um, Ariel from Icon for Hire and her husband, I think they're married. If not, they're together, as far as I'm aware, or at least they were last time I saw the band. They're one of only two bands I've ever bought meet and greet tickets for. Uh, the other's Ginger, but Icon for Hire, Ariel Bloomer, Ariel. I don't remember Ariel. Yeah, because REL is like her YouTube show she was doing for a while. The REL, like capital letters, and I think that's how she likes her name pronounced, Ariel. Um, Bloomer, she wrote this book called Turn Your Pain into Art, and she talked about how important the journaling was for her growth as a person. Uh, I really relate to her in a lot of ways because even though her family was more intense with the religious stuff growing up, I feel like I went through a lot of the exact same things as she did as a child. Um, I didn't realize how many similarities there were in our um, youthful history. And I suppose that's why I relate to their music and her lyrics so much, you know? So definitely check out both Otcon for Hire the band and Turn Your Pain into Art if you get the chance. They're electronic pop punk. Some albums are more electronic, some albums are more pop, some albums are more punk. They even have a hip hop song called Now You Know, which is all what it's like to be a woman in the music industry. And I think it's an incredible take. But what I have been very, very good at is recording these vlogs for a year straight. And over this year, they have effectively become more than just content, but have also become a form of journaling for me. And I realized that when I recorded a High Me in 10 Years video that was inspired by the recent Mr. Beast video, except mine, it is like 2 hours longer. And I'm sure way more cringe and pathetic when I look back at it on 10 years. But that's why it's there, right? So I can see how much I've grown, or if I don't grow, perhaps how far I've fallen. And if I don't make it that far, maybe someone else will see it and hopefully it'll inspire them to plan forward for the next 10 years of their life. But the point of it really is that I love doing these longer rambling videos where I know, oh, it's not great content. It's not even good content. So you could make the argument that depending on my target audience, it's bad content because none of the fucking brain rotted Gen Z kids are gonna sit here and watch some 35-year-old balding guy in his grandpa's hoodie ramble about life for an hour. Yes, I'm pretty sure this is my grandpa's hoodie. It's like it's not that old. I think he got it kind of recently. He passed like a decade ago. But when he passed, my parents ended up taking most of his stuff. They split it amongst the brothers, but my parents got the lion's share of it. But I don't even know like what brand this is or anything. Simply for Sports. Never heard of this before. But it's just like a really simple, basic crackhead hoodie. But it's not really a crackhead hoodie because it's kind of clean and stuff. But this is, I'm pretty sure this was my grandpa's hoodie because this is more kind of the stuff he'd wear, and it's not something I would specifically buy. But it ends up being a good hoodie for doing work, which is what I'm sure he bought it because I've never known a man that worked that hard in my life. Really inspired me. Dude worked his ass off. Used to be um, at the glass mills in Oil City, and he did that until he had to retire. I think they shut down the plant. Uh, I don't know what he did in the meantime, but he was always working. He had a garage full of cans because he would take all the cans and bottles and turn them in for the recycling money. Um, like drive them there himself in his truck and um get some spending cash for a truck bed full of cans. Like he'd get them from the whole neighborhood. Um, and then he worked as a Giant Eagle bagger, and he did that up um, even after his cancer diagnosis. He got diagnosed with stomach cancer, probably from working in the glass mill. And he did that until he was too weak to keep working. Literally too sick to keep working. The man refused to retire. And at that point, he got so sick that we moved him into our home, our house, and had like a hospice bed in the living room. And that's where I ended up passing away. But the man's truly an inspiration. And sometimes I get down on myself for being a little lazy or not working as hard as I should, at the very least. And I feel like I'm channeling his energy and focusing and grinding hard a little bit when I put this hoodie on, you know? So that's why we're wearing it today. Plus, I also like don't care about getting it messed up. Not that I don't value it. Honestly, in some ways, I value it more than probably any other hoodie I have. But, um, and I don't even know if this is true. It might just be some lore I invented in my head because I don't know where I actually got this hoodie from. But it does make me feel focused. And um, even if it gets like ripped or torn or bleach spotted or paint covered, I feel like it's just doing what it was meant to do. You know, it's earning its scars because this is a work hoodie. And I'm sure my grandpa always looked nice. He always dressed well, even when it was just like a button down and blue jeans or something like that, you know? But he was always clean and well put together. But at the same time, he wasn't afraid to get dirty. Uh, if you're not afraid to have dirt to get dirty, you got to have clothes that are specifically for get dirty, right? So it's I have no qualms about getting shit on this or messing it up a little bit because it's it's what it's intended for. It's the whole intended purpose, and I think uh, when I do work in this hoodie, even if it's not his, he probably, at least I hope, he looks down and smiles to know that he's inspiring me to grind my ass off. And that's brings us full circle. I got a lot of work to do. Um, we're going to be going hard into 2026. Little inconsistent at the end here of 2025. And this went 25 minutes longer than I wanted it to, but it's good. It's still under an hour, so I can still upload it to all my platforms and see if any of you sit through the whole hour. But yeah, we're back now. I'm going to be streaming inconsistently, but I'm still working on fixing the PC, getting it prepared to do the OS wipe. We will be bringing the robe back during the streams due to the demands of medicated outrage. And that's it for now. I'm probably going to have more focused conversations coming the rest of the week. The first video back is always just a rambling mess, right? It's 3 hours long now when you consider both videos put back together. But once I lock in a little bit, we'll be able to focus more on creating content instead of just video journaling. It doesn't even feel like a vlog. It's more like a video journal. Although this one is kind of an open letter to you guys, my longtime supporters, I guess. So, oh man, why do the hiccups start whenever it was fine between videos. But for some reason, sitting here recording these videos is making the hiccups come back. All I've got left to say, if I can get it out, is I love all of you. And God bless America. Cheers. I'll see you guys in the next one or at the live stream.